breaking news, the Financial Times News School has come to an end, and I'm here to tell you why the media needs my voice. British journalism is 94% white and 55% male. I'm Aisha Rahman, a British South Asian woman. I was born and brought up in London, which meant that I had the opportunity to have food on the table, a roof over my head, and access to an education. If I was living in Bangladesh right now, my story would be very different. Women in Bangladesh are currently fighting for their welfare, and this is only one example of issues affecting ethnic minorities today. I am passionate about bringing light to issues affecting diverse people through 3 key steps. 1, by having open conversations with different groups. 2, by wider news distribution. And finally, 3, by providing quality news that's easily accessible to encourage inclusivity. And that's all for now. Thank you and goodbye.
The news and media industry needs my voice, as currently there's a lost bird out there waiting to find its flock. The same way the old man sits by the park bench every day bird watching in hopes of finding a rare species, it's the same way a budding and talented kid sits by his TV, hoping to see someone and say, "Hey, that could be me." It's about reaching out to the youth Gen Z. It's the us and the we. It's the dispersing of the seeds to bloom a generation so truthful and keen, as well as welcoming others to sow their own seeds. It's about honouring the truth by standing up for what we believe in. It's the dusting away of the weeds to make space for a beautiful flower to bloom. Like a bird set free, I sing. I sing in hope that others will join me in this chorus, hoping that at least one of these notes will inspire someone to create their own symphony. We need variation to increase the resonation to inspire a generation. As you see, a bland garden hardly gets any licks. Spice it up and you get everyone wants to get a glimpse of it and be a part of something so amazing. Which can also be said for the news and media industry. The industry needs new, fresh and exciting talent to encourage others to be a part of something so wonderful. The news and media industry needs my voice as the seed needs to be planted to bloom a garden so beautiful.
Hello, my name is Majita, Maz for short. The news and media industry needs my voice because it's just not representative enough of all the people that consume it. As a Black woman specifically, it's often hard to spot anyone that looks like me or news that has relevance to my experiences. Many others feel this way. I believe that working with people who have a range of knowledge and lived experiences helps to build a bigger and fuller picture of what's going on in the world. I want to smash the echo chamber walls we've created through our use of self-tailored social media feeds and want to contribute to the media by making sure to include marginalized, often overlooked voices, including those that are neurodivergent and from lower income families. Brilliance is brilliance, no matter where it was raised or how it looks. We all have some brilliance inside us, and I'm ready to share mine with the industry.
What I've discovered about the news and media industry through News School that really excites me is the audio sector. I've always been interested in journalism, but having now been introduced to the incredible array of jobs available, audio really stands out to me. So I'm going to go off camera now and use just audio to explain why. In my application for the Financial Times News School, I was asked whose career journey inspires you and why. And my answer was Elizabeth Day with her podcast, How to Fail with Elizabeth Day. Yet not once have I ever even thought about the making, production and appeal towards audio. After listening to Amy Keene's job description as head of audio at the Financial Times, it opened my eyes to this area in the industry. I found it fascinating hearing about the production and how the removal of virtual communications makes it such an intimate medium to use, something I love when I listen to podcasts. So I wanted to say a really big thank you to the Financial Times News School for enabling me to have a glimpse into this really exciting industry.
What I discovered through the News School that really excites me is the industry's alignment to my personal passion for social change and political activism. More often than not, companies treat diversity as a trend and only make changes that are skin deep. But in order for young people's voices to be heard, these changes must be more than cosmetic ones. There must be reconstructive, almost disruptive change in order to reconfigure the traditional power structures that exist within the media. These past 2 weeks at News School have affirmed for me that change is really occurring. And this allows me to truly envisage myself working in an industry where I know that my views and opinions will be welcomed and valued. This is a time of radical change. I would love to help drive it by being on the inside of the news and media industry rather than on the outside looking in.
The news and media industry needs my voice because I want to see more diverse and health-focused stories in the media. Stories that the Black community can relate to. Stories of triumph and strength. I want to see all the people and health being portrayed in a more positive light. For some mental health disorders like dementia, all we can rely on is information and emotional support. This is why it is very, very important that we portray these stories in the truest form to tackle the stigma towards mental health, towards racism. We cannot afford to amplify stories that show us in a vulnerable state. Are we truly reflecting Black communities if we don't also focus on the positive side of Black history?
We cannot underestimate the change that's happened in news over the past few years. Now, the actual news itself comes through many different tubes, Twitter, the occasional newspaper, friends, so on and so forth. But the actual meat behind the sandwich comes from, guess it, your opinionated journalists, your Joe Rogans, and they come in a very more informal manner. You see how these new newscasters come out, not even just Joe Rogan, but you other guys, they're more informal. They speak in a language which hits at the base of the people. And it's your meat and potatoes, it's your bread and butter, it's the basic points. It's what it is. And what I like to bring to the FT, and then a few other companies if I can try, is that basic opinion, that basic language, which runs at the actual base and allows us to put the actual news into context with our lives. Because elsewise, it's just data.
Hi, I'm Maya, and things I discovered about the news and media industry that excite me are things like changes in technology, changes in platforms and trends that are reshaping the media landscape. This is through augmented reality and artificial intelligence, how they've been emerging in the last decade, and how the global impact of COVID-19 has seen more innovative and immersive content being created as businesses adapt, which has been really interesting. This has already been seen in the power of social media platforms as they provide a personalised and interactive information to consumers, and also in the audio and podcast market. As you can see, it's getting stronger, resulting in communication channels becoming more niche to each individual, which is quite important. Shift to audio and audio live has been enabling people to connect across geographic levels via social media in ways we never could before. And I'm interested to see how this can be further explored to become more inclusive, both in work and for personal use, and especially for possibly groups that have not been discussed yet, such as the deaf community. Thanks.
Why is my voice needed in the news and media industry? I'll give you 3 reasons. 1. Statistics such as these show the disproportion of non-white and other voices being represented in the media. Diversity is heavily needed in the news because people are not one-dimensional. That is why we need more intersectional representation within these spaces. 2. I am socially aware. George Bryant said, "Advertising gives brands a voice and is a powerful way of connecting." Nowadays, people are more inclined to look into the moral and ethical standpoint of the companies we support. This is the perfect way to connect. 3. I think outside the box. Technology is advancing and culture is changing. People are always looking for the next big revolutionary change that's out there. I'm an innovator and a creative, and I'm always looking towards the future. Audio has had its time. What's next? So do you think my voice is still needed? Whether I'm in front of the camera working as a journalist or behind the scenes on the commercial side working in marketing or distribution, a diverse team produces a diverse output and attracts a diverse audience.
Hi, I'm Amar Shori, and I'm very much concerned with empathy. What I've learned about the news and media industry from the FT News School that really excites me is that journalism doesn't start with the journalist or even with the story. It starts with the audience, the people that it serves. With a growing number of reader revenue models, news organizations need to deliver news that will impact and serve their audiences. and therefore must start first by understanding the customer, their issues, and their needs. When I came into the new school, I wanted to be a journalist because I wanted to use my voice to understand other people, share their stories, and impact others. Now I know that there are many more roles in which this can be done. Being able to understand people, empathize with people, connect with people, and change their experience of news is now more important than ever.
So I'll give you an example of why I think that the news industry needs my voice.
Now, a new strategy for England to help people lose weight was published by the government today.
So that government report said that children from low-income households were the most likely to be overweight, and the response to that was inevitable.
It's a parent's duty to stop their kids eating it, but many don't because they're lazy and selfish.
If that report were released when I was a child, I would have been included in it. I was obese and from a low-income household, and I know that it's not as simple as parents are lazy. Parents want to treat their children, and for some people that means Disneyland, but for others, for many, it means a packet of crisps. So even the more charitable take said that the problem is that fruit and veg is too expensive, which it may be, but it misses a point that your appetite for nice things isn't suspended when your credit card is. The problem isn't only that fruit and veg is too expensive or that parents are simply just too lazy. The problem is that people live with such limited means that the only treat they can afford for themselves is down the confectionery aisle. So that's a recent example of where I feel like a voice like mine, or even my voice, could have offered a different perspective. Because the more perspectives there are contextualizing statistics, the better equipped the news is to explain the world around us. And it's why I think that my voice is needed in the news industry.
What I discovered about the news and media industry through News School that excites me is that it provides the opportunity to tell the same story in so many different ways. Excellent storytelling is what inspires me to work in this industry, and the FT News School has demonstrated the scope that news and media can offer to facilitate that storytelling. I've learned the value of readers and consumers being more than just an audience through learning about the business models that support the industry by creating a more direct relationship with the reader. News School has encouraged me to see this structure as a place that remains perceptive, adaptable, curious, and a model that operates with integrity and quality, which is the way I want to work, because I believe the best stories are told through collaboration. I've often found that news can create fear and disconnection, and what excites me about this industry is the chance to tell stories that connect rather than disconnect. I want to challenge myself to ask how we maintain and grow that sense of connection and trust, both in the news and in each other.
Hello, I am Victoria and I'm going to share what I have discovered about the news and media industry through News School. And my first point might be a little bit obvious, but I would like to reiterate the importance of it. Is that if you ask questions, people will actually help you. If you don't, you lose the chance to take advantage of the expertise around you. And you'll find that if you're passionate, people are more than willing to help you with those questions. So ask them. My second discovery was that there are a plethora of reasons why the media industry and the news industry are not just about journalism, which brings me to my third point, is that the News School has made me realize that there is a position within the industry for someone like me.
Hello, my name is Charlie Dawes and I've been fortunate enough to be part of the inaugural FT News School. I would like to take this opportunity to talk a little of what I have learned and also thank all of those involved. Prior to the News School, I had no real understanding of the news and media industry or how I could progress into it in the future. The course has enlightened me to the wide variety of careers available and the context in which they fall. Sessions on marketing, advertising and technology, alongside others, help to clarify routes for progression into the industry. The school has also highlighted the importance of curiosity in both our careers and the industry. This reflected by many of the speakers. Hopefully, my own curiosity was present through the variety of questions which I asked during the sessions. Ultimately, the News School has provided a unique and insightful experience for the news and media industry, and I hope to learn more in the future.
My name's Noor. This might feel strange because I wouldn't normally appear here, but I've popped by to tell you why the news and media industry needs my voice. I always find myself asking why brands get it wrong. Insensitive ads, tone-deaf posts, and inauthentic messaging. And I think it all boils down to a lack of diverse voices. True creativity to me is the collaboration of different voices, viewpoints, and backgrounds. The media industry needs my voice because I aspire to work with people who aren't like me to create something that is truly representative of our wider community. Thank you.
What I discovered about the news industry and media industry that excites me the most through the news industry would be the role of marketing. Before the news school, I only knew a little about the role of marketing in the media and news industry. I used to think marketing involved a group of men talking about how to be hip to the youth. How was I wrong? How I was wrong. The face of marketing has changed due to the evolution of technology. It used to be where newspapers would be advertised via supermarkets, but now podcasts are used to promote newspapers, which to me sounds so fascinating. I look forward to learning more about innovative ways of marketing and promoting the news industry.
Hey, quick question. Why would the media benefit from a voice like yours?
We can answer that on the way. Get yourself got a story. Go, go, go. The nature and purpose of journalism was always to uncover and unveil the truth. If so, tell me why half the stories we know to exist are missing to this day. Stories such as police brutality, the Chinese concentration camps, or the spread of fake news. Has that God always been there? Go. The media has always been known for its moral panic. So I guess ask yourself, who's the real threat to society? Keys. Thanks. I was asked the question why the news industry would benefit from a voice like mine. My experiences of society's injustices firsthand is what led me here, just like everyone else. But you already knew that. So let me ask you this question. Whose side are you going to be on when we take over?
Hey, quick question. Why would the media benefit? Why would the media benefit from a voice like yours?
The media's always been known for its moral panic. No, it's not. It's not been known for its moral panic.
What I discovered about the news and media industry that excites me is that being myself, upholding my passions, is most important to achieving success. The news and media industry is filled with a variety of people from different walks of life that all have in common a desire to add to the world. Whether it's working on a team project, helping each other, writing an article, researching to seek the truth, or delivering content to ensure ease for others, I know I can always add something great. Being adaptable, honest, persistent, and passionate about my goals, and being bold enough to try is the greatest thing I've learned by being inspired by so many. Thank you so much.
The news and media industry needs my voice because I'm a fashion marketing graduate, and while learning about the fashion industry, it made me realise what I was really promoting. The fashion industry is the second largest consumer of the world's water supply and pollutes the oceans with microplastics. This is driven by the snowballing effects of fast fashion. Consumers are buying from fast fashion stores such as Zara, Topshop and Boohoo because they are cheap and can keep up to date with the latest trends. However, a lot of consumers do not realise that buying more clothes is damaging the environment and believe that they are environmentally conscious. I'm going to tell you 3 reasons why you should be buying less clothing. 150 billion pieces of clothing ends up in landfill every single year. And it takes 2,720 litres of water just to create one t-shirt, which is approximately how much we drink in 3 years. And you won't be supporting the exploitation of those that work in the supply chain. Would you do something differently? Would you buy from pre-loved brands or just buy less altogether?
What I discovered about the news and media industry through news school that excites me are some of the challenges they face. Throughout the course, I've been told about some of the challenges that the Financial Times face. Some of these challenges include the rise of fake news, balancing commercial interest with customer satisfaction, and finding reliable sources that will help shape stories. Alongside that, it is exciting to hear that the FT have created a blueprint for other news and media outlets to use the subscription model just like them. I'm aware that customer demand is constantly changing and that it is important for these news and media outlets to quickly adapt to these changes. And we can see today that people are more than happy to pay for high quality content, and that it is important for news and media outlets to write stories that will not only attract people's interests, but gain their trust.
Hi, I'm Lara, and I'm answering the question what I discovered about the news and media industry through New School that excites me. When I started New School, I was unsure of whether the news and media industry was for me. I'd studied journalism, but I still had a lot of questions about what the industry was really like. I had the media theory and the practical skills, but I missed the bigger picture. New School unraveled a fresh set of options. I was learning about new technologies such as AI and how such tech opens up a wealth of opportunities, like faster reportage and finding patterns in data that we may not have otherwise seen. Yet this opens up more questions. How can we create a newsroom that removes gender and race bias? Are we living in a digitally saturated world of information and fake news, and is that more attractive to readers than the truth? Over the 2 weeks with the FT, I learned the importance of integrity. And it's not just about the reportage, but how the brands and organisations partner with each other, and that's key for the news and media industry. It can't stand without it. Seeing the necessity for truth over the pandemic has encouraged me to branch out into solutions-based and slow journalism movements, reading around the story and not just the headlines. It's exciting because although the future is uncertain, it leaves a space for new innovations, ways of engagement, and improvements on diversity and gaining public trust.
The news and media industry needs my voice because many of us have an inner voice that tells us we can't. A voice that tells us we ain't good enough and that others are better. But hold up. I want to silence my inner voice. I want to leave my comfort zone and take a leap in your industry so my voice can be heard. I want my voice heard in an industry that excites me and motivates me. I am driven by the feeling of wanting to help others, to educate, entertain, and make a contribution to this world. My passion for your industry is so much more greater than my inner voice. And I'm so ready for the news and media industry to hear me roar. Thank you.
What I discovered about the news and media industry through New School that excites me is my voice matters. Point blank simple. As a dark-skinned black British young woman of Nigerian and Barbadian descent from northwest London, there are not a lot of people out there in the news and media industry who not only look like me, but speak for me and for others like me. If there's one thing New School has taught me, is that a person cannot be diverse, but they can certainly add diversity, which is what I intend to use my voice for. I'm always on the lookout to share stories, engage with different people, and start dynamic discussions. So perhaps a career in podcasting is for me. From unearthing Generation Z's opinions on Brexit, COVID-19, to the gentrification of thrift shops caused by our favourite YouTubers and social media influencers, audio can allow me to be your trusted friend on the other end of your smartphone, laptop, or Alexa.
Does the news influence you? Is the news from a diverse point of view? Is the news mainly to hook subscribers who are new? Is there too much fake news on social media? How can you tell what's real and fake when fake is so similar? Does the news represent your local community? Or is it all just one big simile? How many stories are from different voices? How can you tell what's real from different sources? Does the news spread hate and violence? Or is the news a tool used to silence? Does the news forecast your local election? Does the news offer quality protection? Why does the news affect your emotions? Is the news a voice saying the show must go on? Is the news educating the younger generation? What news source is your preferred destination? Are you a subscriber of the Financial Times? Should we subscribe to quality journalism when we see the signs? Does the news influence you? Let's include diverse voices too.
The news and media industry needs my voice because from a young age I've aspired to tell the stories of those we don't hear enough about. I've gone my whole life with little to no representation in the media, and I intend on placing myself into the narrative. All that my young, ambitious self wanted was to be a storyteller, and someone who uncovered the truth. Ever since I was little, I ensured to put myself in positions that challenged me, but also brought out the best in me. And that is why my place is in the news and media industry. Fast forward to today. Thanks to the news school, I now know how to use my voice to the best of my ability, and my experience with the FT has narrowed my path and also widened my horizons, making it easier for me to make it to where I want to be in the future. My future has never been clearer, and the knowledge that I've obtained from this course has left me with a plethora of new and exciting ideas and aspirations. Being more well-informed has encouraged me to embark on a journey to continue telling underreported stories and bringing light to situations that the current media doesn't address. The Financial Times is a hub for opportunity, and I'm happy to say that I've been lucky enough to have the chance to explore it and learn from various different people in the industry who I see a bit of myself in. I'm looking forward to seeing where this path I've embarked on takes me, and I hope you can join me.